Hi guys, Big Boy Summer here.
And it's Ruka bringing you
Shinobi no ITTOKI Part 2.
This is the ninja anime, the Shinobi anime. It had a really great start in episode 1. I was really looking forward to it. A lot of things that were going on, but there's one thing that I just could not understand, and that was how Koga actually gained so much influence that even the NSC was willing to look the other way for so many of the things that they were doing that was in clear violation of the NSC.
That's what you couldn't get past?
That's the start.
Okay, cool. I'm glad that's the start, because I got a few more things that I'm going to get past. But let's talk about that. It reminds me of certain countries in the world that get a buy when they decide that they want to start wars. No one gives them any sanctions. But when other countries want to start wars, they're sanctioned the F out of. So, that is understandable to me. It's the way the world works, and that's what happens. What other things bother you, Ruka?
No, I'm not going to just do that. First of all, yes, I get what you're saying, and that is very, very true. I felt that the adults were being really unfair to ITTOKI, and even though they're saying it was to protect him, protection is preparation, not throwing someone into the deep end. So the explanation about his mom having it harder, so what? It's his mom. Parents are meant to have it harder. It's not down to the child to take on all of the responsibilities of things that are difficult. That is the parent's responsibility, so that was dumb. And also the way they said they were going to give ITTOKI an out that he could run away was bullshit. His option is to become a shinobi or to leave his entire family behind and live alone as a teenager that has no life skills. What? They're not even a clan that has a lot of money. They were broke. Their deals came from Koga, who could basically say what the prices were for everything. So where are they sending him? Where's he going? To camp.
I mean, the argument could be made that he did go to gymnastics lessons and parkour lessons, and he was very flexible and had the practical skills of someone who could, do death-defying stunts and stuff. So maybe he was trained slightly.
So I would say that in episode 1, they presented us with something, but the rest of the anime did not reflect any of that.
True.
Because ITTOKI was acting so dumb and defenseless. But in episode 1, like you just said, he was doing so many extracurricular activities. He was by no means dumb, and he was very fit and did parkour. We saw him jumping over cars, doing all this kind of stuff. I didn't see anything of the sort of him doing this until the final episode.
True, I agree with you.
So I can't even use that as anything, because to me, what I saw was a pilot, and that pilot was scrapped, but they kept the same name and characters and gave us a totally different anime from episode 2 onwards.
Look, ITTOKI should have already been told how to be a ninja from day dot. He should know what his birthright is from the time he could walk and do any of these parkour lessons. He should already know the ins and outs of proper ninja etiquette and knew where his standing was in terms of the clan. I'm sure we said this before in a different anime probably, where succession isn't just the queen or king is dead, God rest her soul, Queen Elizabeth is dead, and then the next one comes in straight like that, knowing what to do. That's not how it works. You're trained from birth. You know exactly what to do from the time you can walk, and you're trained from that time until it's your time to succeed. And unfortunately, they did ITTOKI a big disservice here and left the whole clan weak and liable. So weak that the clan looked like it was about to implode on itself multiple times in 12 episodes.
I want to move on to the clan Koga just for a minute. I wanted to know why the average Koga shinobi are so blind to how terrible Koga is. Most of them don't seem like bad people, but they're blind to the terrible things they've done to all of the other villagers. None of them are smart enough to realize that since their leader died, everything's being done opposite to what he wanted. Not one person realizes that they're the only village that's gained anything from their leader's death. That was really disappointing, because it did seem as if Koga had some intelligent ninja from the things that we were seeing. And on top of that, the village higher-ups don't object to one of their own being killed for asking for a different course of action. He didn't even go against them. He just said, look, I suggest we do this, or I suggest we don't do this because I think in the long run it will be bad for us as a clan. He was actually still doing it for the survival of the clan.
Yeah, I totally agree. But it could be said that, you know, when you're on the bad side, but it doesn't feel bad to you. Okay, so like, for example, if you are the type of person to go and kick a dog, for example, you don't feel what the dog feels or care about what the dog feels. However, if it started raining and your hair got wet, you're going to feel that. You're going to feel like, oh my gosh, what an injustice. The rain has ruined my hair. But you just kicked the dog. It might be that kind of situation where the bad guys feel entitled to everything going their way. And yes, you're right, there were smart ninjas, but again, it's a military sort of situation where it doesn't matter what your opinion is. You're supposed to just fall in line and do what you're supposed to do. And that could have been the situation here. The smart ninjas just shut up because they knew that if they opened their mouth, they would have been treated the same way that, you know, I can't remember his name, but he got killed for his objection to them going today. It wasn't even an objection to them doing it at all. He said going today.
Which is why I find it just really odd. I know what you're saying and I do understand that, but it just didn't feel like that was there. I think that if they had done that, I would be able to understand. I mean, it's a common thing that is done in media and in real life.
They tried a little bit, you know, the last episode where they were like, what do you think about the Koga as it stands now? You know, where the powerful will always beat the weak and this, that and the other. Well, I mean, you had a whole few episodes to make sure that you solidified that mantra and mentality, but instead you went the dictatorship route, and so no one really got a voice. So once you start giving them a voice in the last 20 minutes of the whole show, no one's really going to resonate with that. So they dropped the ball there, in my opinion.
Okay, so I said I wasn't going to do this, but it feels like I am actually doing it anyway, so I might as well continue. Why on earth would they kill Ittoki's mom when, as far as they knew, she was the only one that knew where the core was? I found that highly stupid. They didn't even try to figure out whether anybody else knew where it was. They just killed her, said she was in the way, but she was in the way of you getting the core, and you thought she was the only one that knew where the core was. Okay, right. And if every village is being subjugated by Koga, why didn't they just band together? I mean, yes, Koga was the main village, they were the biggest one. However, they weren't bigger than everybody else put together. So it's not like the other villages didn't have like relationships with each other. They did, because every single village produced a different thing. So everybody already had to communicate and work together to some degree in order to survive. So that was just bizarre.
That one is easy. Koga brought you a seat to the table. Once your village got assimilated, you got a seat at the table, didn't you?
If they banded together, they would have had a seat anyway, and they would have had a bigger position than Koga. So, no. No.
Okay, fair enough.
Suzaku, when he heard that his dad was murdered, he had the nerve to say that he was a coward, when all this man has tried to do is raise him right. Yet he's running around trying to become a murderer to avenge the last leader. I found it so disrespectful and ungrateful, the way that he treated the murder of his own father versus the murder of the leader of the clan. His dad was a good dude. Every time we saw him on screen, he was thinking about the best for the clan. He was thinking about all the other villages. He was thinking about raising his son. Like, in almost every shot, he was looking at a picture of his son, hoping to raise him right, hoping for him to be on the right path. And then he's just like, too bad dad died. He was a coward anyway. Like, what kind of BS was that? That was so disrespectful. Like, slap him for a second.
Wow.
He needs to slap.
Wow. Only two. Okay, look, put it this way. Put it this way, you know, teenage angst, did it?
No!
Look,
because if it was teenage angst, then I should expect the same from the leader. The leader was just someone he got close to in the last couple of years. Your dad's raised you your entire life, and from what I could see, there was no mom in the picture. So your dad has been solo doloing this thing. Give him his props. He raised you. Okay. He raised him well.
Clearly not. I mean, clearly not well. I mean,
he got extreme. It was an extremist, you know.
Look, you're right. However, how many times has your mum or dad told you something and you just been like, whatever, and then someone else will say the same thing, and then you'd be like, oh, actually, that makes sense, you know? Look,
yeah, that's true.
It's one of them situations, but on a very extreme level. No. Teenage angst, isn't it?
No, if your parent died, would you just be like, too bad, coward? No, you wouldn't.
No, I really wouldn't.
You wouldn't. You would be heartbroken. He didn't even shed a tear.
It wasn't until they came for him that he decided to go against them as well.
It was when he saw the footage of his dear-ass leader, wasn't it?
Yeah, but then he knew they were coming for him. That's when he decided that he was going to do something.
He's pathetic.
He already knew the footage was there. He knew the footage was there and told Kiddo that, you know, I've got the footage. I'm bringing it to you. I've told no one about it. As I said, it wasn't until Kiddo sent the guys against him.
No, he did that because he had a feeling that he was going to come for him and it was a test.
He knew it. But that's what I'm saying. He did it and he did nothing until that happened.
Yeah.
He could have said, I didn't have it. He could have left it at that and carried on about his business. But when they came for him, that's when he went for them. Selfish.
Okay, then we're gonna move on again to ITTOKI because you can't talk about this anime without talking about this. So I need to know why on earth they would leave a ninja that they know is 50-50 a traitor, because ITTOKI was told multiple times that there's still a traitor among you, and let her in the control room after you've been told by Kozetsu that one of these chicks is probably a traitor. Just left her to know all of your plans, and then when she tells you in the end, oh, I was actually a traitor, he's like, what?
Okay, ITTOKI is an idiot, and I know it's not implied in the show, but I think he was thinking with it. Pretty girls all around him want to be his friends. He's there. He's never had this sort of life before. The only pretty girl he knows is a tsundere, and now he's got girls who are actually being nice to him, and he didn't really care that his whole family and whole clan was in danger. He just wanted, you know, some nice female company. That's the only way I can see this being justified, because there is no way on earth that it can be justified any other way, because it's just stupid. It's the most stupidest. Look, there's so much stupid that happens there. Alright, go Ruka, hold my beer. Go on.
Because when you said it was the stupidest thing, I was going to say, but are we supposed to believe that ITTOKI's mom died and now he's just a full-blown shinobi? He can't fight, he can't use the suit, and he has so little training, but all of a sudden he's perfect. He can move super fast, he can use all of the moves, and then the core, it's supposed to be an energy core. It powers things. It doesn't turn you OP. It doesn't give you skills, but now that he has the core, not only can he move fast, but he has all these skills and can fight multiple opponents in 1 second.
Fam, we saw you in the academy, bro. You're I mean that in an objective way as well. It's not me being biased. You're actually just like, you're not good at being a ninja at this moment in time. And it's not your fault. You need to learn these skills. As I said, your family did you a big disservice. Your clan was rubbish in this sense. But let's be honest, the core should have been given to Kozetsu, in my opinion, because she would have actually been able to use it and she would have been a menace. Give the clan over to Kozetsu. That's it.
This actually goes, for me, beyond ITTOKI being stupid. This actually calls into question the reality of the series. It makes everything so unrealistic, even within the confines of this anime. And that is something that I really find hard to accept. I expect realism, even if it's about sorcerers. If it's about sorcerers, I'm expecting magic. That's realistic in that setting. But for him to be really rubbish, have like a couple weeks of school behind him, and to be failing completely the entire time, not being able to use the suit, not being able to do anything ninja related, and somehow losing all of his parkour abilities. And we're supposed to accept that because his mom died, he's now great. I need something. I think maybe a stiff drink.
You need a comfort anime to go back to in order to wash this anime bad taste out of your mouth. That's what you need.
And you are correct. Kozetsu, for me, should have just been the MC. She had an interesting backstory. She had issues that she needed to overcome. She had the death of her mother figure. She was forced to betray everyone without her even realizing. And then on top of that, she had to overcome what she had done and still push forward. That to me is like all the great building blocks of having like a really interesting MC. But they just totally fumbled the ball. I mean, even Suzaku had a great
she had a great story as well. Heck, let's pick all of them. All of them had a great story.
Everyone.
All of them.
And character development.
Except for Itoki, everyone could have been the MC here. Let's be honest, I take the LEC, the one who just became the captain. She could have been the main character. The demigod could have been the main character. The spy who's the traitor could have been the main character.
No, I disagree.
Karen could have been the main character, bro.
I disagree with that one.
No. Her story is tragic, bro. It's a huge redemption arc. That could have been the main character there.
Well, the way that her character was handled was just too ridiculous
for
me
understand
to accept that.
But
I could say, you know what? Let's just go to the verdict. All right, so hot or not?
It's a total not for me, except for episode 1. Episode 1 was banging.
And rate the anime as a whole as well. While you're at it,
I'll give it a 5.2 out of 10.
Really? Okay. So I would say it gets a 3.5, and it's a not. Obviously, it's a not. And that is because it had a good concept, but a very poor execution, poor character development of Itoki, and poor interpersonal relationships, except for any relationship Koga had an inkling into, because he was quite a good character and his relationships were good. But everybody else's sucked. This anime promised me something in episode 1, didn't deliver, and just was full of disappointment.
I was lied to.
And on that note,
don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and join us on Bomb Anime Insta.
Peace.